Welcome back to week 2. The next file we're working on is 1-2, which is a tap through. We're basically going to spot drill, and then tap in the same fashion as we did of 1-1. Tapping obviously being the new addition. The process steps are basically all the same. This is the part you're going to be working for the tutorial part. Again, there's 4 holes, and we're going to be doing a 5/16 18 tap through in these 4 holes. Again, there is a write-up for you to download as well as a template file, which is very similar to the last one we worked on. I'm not going to lecture through the spot drill and drilling portion since we've already done that just previously. I want to save some time. What I'm going to do is pause this video and complete the work up to the point where we get to the tapping, which is on page 31, and at that point we will continue on and we will walk through the rest of the tapping toolpath. Okay, so at this point you should be at page 31 of the tutorial write-up. It's a tap toolpath page, and just to go over the steps we finished so far, we had facing already existing, and we have drill and which was a spot drill, and then peck drilling completed. Just making sure that all levels are turned off except for parts. Okay, we have that one turned on. Our planes are op10 G54, which is fine, nothing to talk about there. And now we're going to go ahead and go into isometric view and walk through the tapping process. So if you read the overview, we will be doing a tap. It's 5/16 18. We already did a tap drill. The tap drill is an undersized drill. It's specific to each tap, so you have to look up a tap drill chart to see which drill size you use for which specific tap. In this case, it was a letter F drill, which we already did. Just double check that. Yes. Yep. So there's a little F drill, 257. So now on page 33, it discusses a tap lead. Again, I'm not going to read through the whole thing. Just go ahead and read through that so you get a better understanding of what the lead-in value is for the breakthrough on a tap. Next page, we start the toolpath. So it is still a normal drill toolpath. We're going to go to the Mill Toolpaths tab, and we're going to select Drill. Again, make sure that your red insert flag is directly underneath number 3, the peck drill, so that the tap drill will be dropped in the right position. We're going to go ahead and select our center points again for our chain, they call it. So we are going to make sure that we highlight all 4 holes, and what we want to do is we want to make sure we're getting the center point of the snap. So we just want to move it in such a way that we see the circle with the plus in the middle for our O snap, and there we go. So we have those 4 asterisks in the middle. Gonna click OK. Now we are in our 2D toolpaths drill circle menu here. So we selected our geometry. Now we're going to stay in this drill command, but we're going to change the cycle to tap. That's how we specify that. To start, we are going to go to Tool, and we need to find a 5/16 18 UNC right-hand tap. I'm going to go into the library. And this time, let's go ahead and talk about how the filter can be used to find tools. So with the filter active and with display mode selected to both, we're going to hit the filter. I'm going to go ahead and clear it, so I'm going to click none for now. And now we need to find the icon that relates to tapping. So I'm just looking for the tap icon. It should be one of these 2. There you go. Right-handed tap. I'm going to select that icon and click OK. And now all I should be seeing are right-handed taps in the tool library. And here is our 5/16 18 tap right hand, 312 size. So we're going to click OK. Again, speeds and feeds we're not going to look at right now. For a comment, we're going to do a 4 times tap through. And we're going to do the same thing with a Z minus, and we'll come back later after we determine what our final Z depth should be. We're going to ignore the holder. We're going to ignore stock. And now we're going to go to cut parameters. So we are going to be tapping, so we're going to change the cycle to tap. And we don't need to change anything else. That's going to bring in the G84. So again, some of these are a little bit different because we're not using the same exact post, and it's been upgraded since the last time this PDF was complete. So I'm going to make sure all these values are 0 for now. All we care about is that the tap cycle G code gets called out for this. Yeah, we're in linking parameters. We're going to be changing some of this other stuff, so that's fine. So with tap cycle selected, we're going to skip tool axis, and we're going to go right to linking parameters. So most of this is going to be the same. So clearance of 2-inch absolute is good. Now our retract is going to be absolute, and per the page number 39, the retract value for tapping must be at least 2 times the pitch to allow the feed rate to synchronize with the spindle. So basically the spindle is not going to go from 0 to 100 right away. It has to speed up. So we want to make sure that we give the spindle enough time to get to the right speed before it begins to feed into the workpiece. So in this case, it has to be a minimum of 0.11111. So we'll change the retract to 0.11111. That's 4 ones, and that is 1/18th times 2. So that's the pitch. The pitch is 18th. So it's 2/18ths, which is 1/9, which is 0.1111. Let's see, top of stock is 0 because we already machined. I'm sorry, top of stock is not 0 because this is a good thing to talk about. So the WCS plane is actually on top of the boss in the middle of the part, so that's a 0. And we've already machined off 190 thousandths. So negative 0.19 is actually where the top of the hole is located relative to the WCS, which means our top of stock is actually negative 0.19 because underneath the top of the boss in the center. And the reason why that matters is because the retract and things like that is going to be based off of the top of stock, so we want it to be accurate there. And our depth, we're going to go ahead and select the bottom of the part like we did last time. You just double check and make sure that's what that says. Yep. So we click on depth. We're going to rotate the part over, and we can click on the bottom of the chamfer or the bottom of the part, whatever you can get easily enough. I usually go for the chamfer or the bottom of the hole. So negative 0.71 is the depth. And now we're going to have to go ahead and do the breakthrough amount for that as well. So we're going to go to tip comp. Tip comp is turned on. We want a breakthrough amount of 100, which is the standard breakthrough, but then we're also going to add another 150 thousandths to compensate for the lead on the tap. And based off the information we read previously, the lead is the tapered angle of the tap at the bottom. So we want to make sure that we get the full cutting diameter of the tap at the bottom of the hole. We don't want it to be convexed at the bottom. It has to be that full size all the way through. So the breakthrough amount is going to be 1/4 inch, 0.100 plus 0.150. And that is the last thing we have to worry about in there. So we're going to click OK. And this is where we can determine what our final Z depth is. So we're going to go ahead and do a back plot. I'm going to hit the play button, and then I'm going to cycle through using S, and I'm actually going to stop it. Let's see, stop it first, and then hit S or B. There we go, to get to the bottom. So that's the bottom of the Z value, and it is negative 0.9600. I just want to make sure that lines up with, we're actually off by 20 thousandths for some reason. Let me go double check and see what I got here. Negative 0.71. The depth is actually negative 7.3. Oh, because there's still stock left on the bottom, so there's still 30 thousandths to machine, but the stock is turned off when we were doing this. So you can go ahead and go back and modify your depth to negative 0.73. And then it's the same tip comp. So now when I come back and I regenerate this and back plot it and hit S to get to the bottom, now our Z minus is negative 0.98. So that would not have been deep enough to account for the lead on the tap. We would have been off by 20 thousandths. So it's actually good that we saw that and double checked it with the print here. So we're going to go back into parameters now that we know that value. Navigate back to tool, and we can input this Z negative number. So again, it's negative 0.980 for reference for the operator. Apply and OK. And now we can go ahead and run the full back plot. So I will select the Op10 G54, and I will run that entire cycle of all 4 toolpaths. And let that go. Perfect. So now we would do a solid verify just to confirm again. Again, we're going to make sure that verify the color loop is turned on. We'll let that run. So the face mill is yellow. So there's a yellow, spotting is blue, purple, green, all looks pretty good. And again, the part is red, so I still need to figure out why that's doing that. I haven't spent the time to check and see where I can change the color of the base part. So we can close the solid verify, and you can go ahead and you want to save this file. And I usually put my last name in the middle of the file here. Save that, and we are all set. So that is the end of week 2 for tutorials. Okay, so you can now submit the file that you just completed as the week 2 1-2 tap through. You submit that file here. Now remember, you still have some work in the lab to do. So this completes the tutorial portion of the week. It should take you about an hour to do both of these tutorials here. Another hour or so to read through and watch the reference videos. Remember now, you also have to go to week 2 lab. So if I go back to the lab and we go into course content week 2, you also have 2 other exercises to complete. drilling and tapping. Again, very similar to what we just did, although there's no other further instructions. So use the tutorial and the print to guide you, and submit both of these labs by the end of Sunday at midnight. That's always a due date. So from week to week, all of the labs and exercises are due by Sunday night, and then the week starts again on Monday. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the discussion board or shoot me an email directly, and we can go over any questions you may have. Okay? Thank you very much. I will see you next week.